Happy Star Trek Day, everybody.
Woo!
Welcome to Star Trek Discovery Pod, a kind of smart, kind of funny podcast covering new and classic Trek. I am your Callie class captain for tonight, Mariah Gossett. And with me on the view screen, we have...
Hello, I'm Brianna.
Hi, I'm Ashlyn.
Thank you so much, Ashlyn and Rihanna, for joining me from the Dura Sisters podcast. I'm so excited to have y'all back to cover all things Star Trek Day and to, dig into this episode of Lower Decks. It's been a jam-packed day full of announcements, as well as an excellent drop from Lower Decks. How did y'all celebrate Star Trek Day today?
Well, we had the pleasure earlier on today of guest podding on Battlespace 9 podcast.
Nice.
So we finished up recording that a few hours ago. So that was one of the ways. We were also preparing for our Chakotay First Officer episode coming up in our series this next week. And so I was watching Voyager some parts of the day, and then, of course, tuning into the live events happening, which was so wonderful to see.
Yeah, I was watching, same as Rihanna, watching all things Trek today. The live events were especially fun, and I had it on secretly at work in the background.
Yes.
And there were several points where I was like gasping, and I was like, okay, calm down.
Keep it to
You can't,
yourself.
especially during the Picard season 3 like teaser trailer. I was like, you can't cry right now. Go home and cry later. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I know there was a lot of moments. So I had the incredible honor of being able to attend Star Trek Day this year. It was truly everything I wanted and more. And it was really hard because at points there's like a camera pointed at your face and you're like, oh, they could cut away at you at any moment. And then they put up a Nichelle Nichols tribute video and you're just like trying to not ugly cry in your seat while surrounded by cosplayers.
Yep.
And it was difficult, but I made it happen. Also, we do have a guest in the background for a moment. Giraffe is here, everybody. Giraffe was also at Star Trek Day, looking incredible. If you got to watch the live stream, you got to see that she had the wonderful honor of getting her Romulan makeup prosthetics put on by the professionals. And so we've been hanging out, coming down from the experience that was Star Trek Day today. I feel like, I'm going to leave this to dealer's choice today. So do you guys want to talk about Star Trek Day first, or you want to talk about Lower Decks episode first?
Ooh.
I think let's do Star Trek Day. Let's just get it out of our system.
Yeah.
Get it out of the way.
While we're still talking about it. Yeah.
Yes, true. Amazing. Okay. And just as a reminder, if this is your first time listening to the podcast, welcome. We welcome you. We're so excited to have you. If you're watching with us live and you have a question for us during this particular live stream, just use capital P, capital O, capital D, capital pod in the chat so that it kind of flags it for us and we can keep an eye out for that so we can answer any questions that pop up. And then also you can find all of the links to how to subscribe to the podcast, how to find the live stream, how to find our Patreon, all at StarTrekPod.co. And we're really excited to have the lovely folks from the Dura Sisters podcast with us today. Where can people find you?
You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Tumblr, all under the Dura Sisters podcast. We also have some cool merch on Threadless. Yeah, all social media platforms. We are the Dura Sisters podcast.
Yeah. Awesome. Amazing. Okay, so let's dive into some of the announcements we got today at Star Trek Day. There was quite a lot of them. I don't know if this list is in order, but one of the big teasers we got to see today was for the final season of Picard, where we got to see Jeri Ryan, 7 of 9, in her uniformed Starfleet goodness. What an emotional experience. And that is coming to us February 16th, 2023. So not forever in the future, but is quite a few months away. And we've got a couple other shows in between. But what did y'all think of the Picard teaser?
Tears. I was like weeping. I have the pleasure of working from home, so I was able to like make real reactions in real time. And my partner was like, what is going on? I told her at the beginning of the day, I was like, today's Star Trek Day, so I'm going to be a little crazy and weird with all the announcements. But yeah, I was just Oh, sorry, my cat.
Aw.
He's very chatty. I was just overwhelmed with like joy and just seeing we got more glimpses of everyone's faces, and I was just so excited to get to see Seven where she belongs. That was amazing.
Yes, totally same. I especially love that the teaser opened with Dr. Crusher reaching out to Picard
Mhm.
saying, Jean-Luc, I
Yes.
need you, because that is what I've been waiting for. So that made me super happy. I wish we got a little bit more of like Geordi and Worf and everyone else, but we kind of just got like glimpses of their faces. But
Yeah.
it's a teaser trailer. There's more to
Yeah.
come. It'll be okay.
Yes, I think Sir Patrick Stewart said it best on the panel is we are finally back in space. And
Yes.
I think everyone is really excited about that. And it looks like it's going to be an incredible adventure. I'm really excited to see Rafi in the underbelly criminal sphere. I also got to meet Michelle Hurd in person today, and she's just as lovely of a human. She complimented my curly hair. I wanted to die. Everything was wonderful.
Wow.
And yeah, she is so excited about the plot for Rafi this season, and I'm excited to go along with her on that journey. She's definitely been one of my favorite characters they've introduced in Picard.
Agreed.
Oh yeah, same.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's get
100%.
into it. I'm
Yeah.
excited. I'm excited to
Yes.
see what happens. Yep.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm also like nervous too, about like there's of course going to be another disaster happening, but I'm still just pumped. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that looked like a very important building collapsing into
Yeah.
a planet with the Federation logo on it. So I think
Mhm.
there's definitely some really intense stuff happening in the next season of Picard.
Definitely
Yeah.
gave me some like Citadel and Game of Thrones collapsing, like
Ooh.
big season 6 problems.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
Yep.
Yes. I think I saw someone in the pod, and I think this is where we should go next. The best announcement was Carol Kane, who is joining the next season of Strange New World. Thanks, Choopy. I'm also so excited. So she's going to be in a reoccurring role. Her character's name is Pelia. Or Pelia, I guess we'll find out.
Mhm.
But the promo image for her looked incredible.
Goddess,
Amazing.
literally.
Yeah.
She's just glowing, and the uniform looks so good. I'm so happy for this role. I'm really excited. I've seen her in like Kimmy Schmidt and stuff. I love her in like everything she does. I think she's a great comedic actress. So I'm excited to see, how she sort of synthesizes the role with it being a dramatic and comedic, type of thing.
I know. I think since Strange New Worlds gets to play with genre so much, having
Mhm.
someone with that level of just like comedy chops on set
Yeah.
is just going to be a chef's kiss incredible. I'm so
Totally.
excited about it.
Yeah, she's going to give it all she's got. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also got to see a really fun clip of Ortega's thinking she's finally going to get to go on an away mission, and then has to use her incredible skills to pilot our Enterprise still. But I'm excited that I think they've teased out well enough that we're going to get to learn more and see more from all of these cast and characters that we've learned to love from season 1. And unlike the Trek of the 90s, we don't get 22 episodes a season. So we have to kind of wait and hold out until we get season 2 for some of these bigger backstories. But I'm really excited that they know that we love Ortega so much, and they're going to give us a little bit more.
Yes, more Ortegas.
Mhm.
What we were all begging for. I'm so excited.
Yes. I also liked, I think Tawny Newsom said something. I think that's the first time in canon history someone's told Spock to mind his business.
Yes. Yes. Amazing.
Truly.
It was such a fun moment. That whole cast was so cool and so lovely. And Celia's we'll get there. I was like, I might have to end with like the Nichelle Nichols tribute, because it was just like so emotional and beautiful. But we did also get a behind the scenes tour of the disco sets with Wilson Cruz, which was so fun to have one of our space dads take us around, essentially work for the day.
Absolutely. I really, I know Julian from Strange New Pod loves Wilson Cruz, and I really felt like that energy. It was like, whoa, he looks so good right now.
Yeah. That shirt was giving us everything we all wanted and more.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And we also got to see, I know, Chupi, good point.
Yes,
Mary was there, which means
Yes.
Tilly is back.
Yeah.
So whether that is just a secret plot that they had her there for the day on set, or she actually gets to be back in the season, which is what I am hoping for. I was
Please,
really,
yeah.
I was so excited to see her and Blue hanging out together in their little Margaritaville area. That set just seems like such a joy to work on, and everyone seems like such a loving, fun family. And then we got to see a pretty badass screen grab of Burnham driving
Yes.
what almost looks like a snowmobile, but it's a sandmobile.
Yeah.
I was
It's
thinking about
giving me like Nemesis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, yes, yes.
Maybe she's going for an android head somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's really going for it. And then the other really big, exciting announcement was we finally are getting more. Oh my gosh, where did it go? Prodigy. I was like,
Yes.
I was just, I was like, Lower Decks. That's not it. That's not the announcement. Okay.
Yeah.
Prodigy, October 27th. I'm really excited to see new episodes of Prodigy. I think they're doing such a great job with that show, and it's so compelling for even I hate saying for even a kids show. It's just good and compelling, and I can't wait to dive back into that world with them.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I haven't quite paced out like when I know Lower Decks has what, like 7 more episodes, so that's 7 more weeks, and then Prodigy will be starting a little bit after that. And then we'll have Picard. So I'm glad that they're considering us, and our Thursdays need to be full of Trek coming up.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. I'm excited for a lot of animated Trek for the rest of the year. And then we'll get to jump back into our live action folks after the holidays. Yeah, I'm so excited. We're finally getting some Prodigy. I talked to a couple of the folks who work on the show, and they've been dying to share when it was coming out, because they're like, everyone's been asking, and we're just so excited it's back out in the world. And I'm excited to see some Admiral Janeway versus hologram Janeway and how that's gonna play out.
And hopefully some Chakotay information will be dropped soon.
Please, something.
I know. I feel like they teased that he was involved in some way so long ago, and we still have no idea.
They're really drawing this out. Yeah, it's truly so funny because everyone has been asking when Prodigy was coming back, and our little sister, we were able to talk to her today and gave her the news. We're like, we finally have a date, and she's like, finally, I've been waiting. So we're all very excited here. Yeah.
Yes, I'm so excited. Yes. And then finally, they also gave us some fun previews of the Star Trek online game with some Mirrorverse, Wesley Crusher, which is, I think, going to be really fun for folks who are into that. The official podcast is coming back in February as well, with Paul F. Tompkins and Tawny Newsome. And then I'm super interested in this new Con podcast that's also being released, and seeing how they're sort of morphing that into an audio only world. I think that's going to be super interesting.
Yeah, I have no expectations, but I'm very excited. Yeah,
exactly.
I was
no
like,
idea.
I know DC, or not DC, excuse me, the Wolverine podcast did really, really well. And so I think a lot of other franchises are starting to kind of take notice of the opportunity to continue to expand a lot of these worlds for fans in a very different way. So I'll be excited to see how that comes to fruition and get some more backstory on such an infamous character.
Absolutely.
That's really
we
cool.
just saw Wrath of Khan for the 40th anniversary in theaters, so it's very timely. Yeah,
very timely. I know, that's going to be great. And we also have another Star Trek movie in the works. I didn't preview anything here, but I did actually see some Kelvinverse stuff in a lot of the montages, so I feel like they're starting to bring that little family back into our group here. And I'm really excited because I enjoy the Kelvinverse, and hopefully getting to dive into that world again soon.
Absolutely. I've seen both verified and unverified Twitter accounts saying that Jonathan Frakes should just direct at this point, because who knows what's going on. So
he's stable. So
yeah, stable. I feel like he's down. He really knows the world.
Yes, for sure.
Excuse me. Okay. Sorry, y'all. I had COVID like a week and a half ago, so I'm still like, and then I was talking all day today. So the voice is struggling, but we are going to make it through.
No worries.
The final thing I wanted to touch on was just the really beautiful and I thought moving tribute to Nichelle Nichols. There was a really poignant moment of silence that was just like, I don't know, it felt nice to be in a big group of people who are all like honoring her in that way. And like it was really emotional, and I just really appreciated how much like time and effort they went into kind of honoring her and her legacy at this day. And I just really appreciated it as a fan.
That's incredible.
Yeah, really. I think it's great to take that time to all like be together for that tribute, because we were all, you know, individually mourning her, and there were so many like amazing tributes, but just to have everybody together in one room, must have been amazing.
Yeah, it was really, really wonderful and beautiful. And I'm so glad that Celia Gooding is like doing that character such justice on Strange New Worlds. And I know that she is so connected to the character and to Nichelle, and is just going to continue, I think, to honor that legacy and to help create the character that we know that Uhura is. So I'm just really, really glad that she's at the helm of that.
Absolutely.
Same. Yeah. That's amazing.
I think, was there anything else besides the amazing giraffe and her incredible costumes and ears and fun?
The noise I made was like ungodly when I saw giraffe. I was so
like,
excited.
I know her.
Listening and hiding.
Yeah, it was a really wonderful day. I feel so like blessed and which I know is like kind of cheesy to say, but truly it was just like so lovely to be surrounded by people who love Star Trek as much as you do, and like to be around people who help make it happen, and to be able to talk to like writers and voice directors and costume designers, and just be like, I see all of the work that you're doing, and I know how many hands go into this, and I just like really appreciate you building these worlds for us. And it was really a delight, and I'm so thankful I got invited, and I had such a wonderful time.
I'm so happy that you got to be there, and it was lovely. I think also on Giraffes or Strange New Pod's Twitter, I got to see that you were there, and I was like, oh my gosh, like like what a joy. So cool.
It was so fun. And you know, the Lower Decks, it was so fun during the Lower Decks panel. We all started cheering Lower Decks, and they're like, oh, we don't have to start it anymore. And we're like, yes, because we're here for you. And I have been enjoying Lower Decks this season so far. Last week, because I was out sick, I didn't get to talk about the second episode, but I thought it was so fun just to give like my sort of hot freak on Ep 2. I loved the D&D references. I loved Boimler getting out of his comfort zone. It was really a fun episode to watch. Mariner also, it was sort of like Mariner and Boimler reversed, because Mariner had to follow all of the rules and Boimler had to break all of the rules. So I really enjoyed it. How have you all been liking the season thus far, now that we're 3 episodes in?
I'm just overjoyed always by Lower Decks. I think it's such a bright spot in my day whenever I get to sit down and watch an episode, and they're always just so great in a way that is so different than what I expect. You know, I expect the episode to go a certain way, and it always tricks me and surprises me in this whole fresh new way that I wouldn't expect. And so it's really fun to see how they're going to surprise me this week, how they're going to help these amazing characters grow. And I feel like each episode we get a little bit more of each character, and I just absolutely love that.
Yeah, I just continue to love Lower Decks. I think what's so masterful about it too is that it is episodic. You know, you can just watch any episode out of order, and yet we still get this amazing character depth from episode to episode, and somehow it is connected, you know, because more and more is revealed about these people, and I just love them, and it's such a great spot in my heart. It's one of those shows, like, I hope it never ends, you know, like I can comfort watch Lower Decks forever.
Yes.
Truly, it is so good to go back and rewatch a lot of these episodes and see, because the jokes are so layered. And so I just think it's like every time I rewatch, I'm like, oh, there's another thing, and oh, there's another reference. But yeah, I think it's time we jump in and start talking about this third episode of Lower Decks. So let's grab some glowing rocks and try not to make our nightmares appear. Mining the mines. She's bye.
Bye.
Bye. Love you. I don't hear anybody, but I love you all.
Bye, Giraffe. Drive safe. Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
That's Giraffe is out. But yes, so mining the mines, that is a tongue twister, cannot say that 10 times fast, was directed by Phil Mark Sagadaraka, there it is, and written by Brian D. Bradley. And I think we all might know what time it might be. It might be a time for a Hot Freaks. It is Hot Freaks time. So, who wants to jump in with their hot freak? Your quick, spicy take of the episode.
Okay, I've got one. I think it would have been a little more interesting if the orbs or the time, whatever, not the time, the mines, the glowing orb mine, maybe just showed like their nightmares and their dreams instead of then adding in like the basketballs and the other thoughts and stuff. It definitely helped them come together with the conclusion of the idea. But I think character wise, and like I'm a writer, so I'm always thinking like, how can the like plot also help the character move along? I think it would have been interesting if we could have explored their like nightmares and their daydreams more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. For me, I just love how secretly, to me, this was a Tendi episode, hidden beneath everything. And without her, literally, like nothing would have happened. And I'm so happy. I kind of love the bird therapist. I can't remember his name. Yeah, he's like, he's so frustrating, but it was funny to see him on. I think my only complaint is that there weren't enough references, and we still got some very deep references in this episode.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was like a really fun way to push Tendi forward. We got to see her character really develop this episode, but then we also just had some like fun shenanigans. And I always like when they turn the expectation on its head, right? Like they assumed this other ship thinks of them as this like slacker ship, but in reality it's because they take chances that they're like the cool ship in the Cali classes.
Yes.
So I really enjoyed that they got to kind of play with that idea of like your reputation. And I think all of us always like overthink what other people are thinking of us. And so I just like really related to all of the characters as they thought about that. Let's check some hot freaks from the chat. We got Kian saying Rutherford has more willpower than Geordi. Imagine if Geordi was tempted by Leah Brahms.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Damn straight.
Very true. Chupi says hot freak. I enjoyed it more than last week. Lots of great lines. They are more and more referencing their own show, like a koala sitting on a black mountain. Yes,
exactly.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I was literally thinking about how genius that was. Like 2 references from other episodes packed in one. Yeah.
I saw recently, I think within the last like day or two, Mike McMahon posted like there's been more, like pictures coming in from the telescopes, and someone had photoshopped a koala in there.
Yes.
Incredible.
But then it ended up being like the stars sort of made the shape of a koala like naturally in a different part. And he's like, oh, we didn't even have to Photoshop the koala in. It's already there.
Yeah. Yep.
So funny. But yeah, we have Tendi starting her officer training with the psychiatrist, Dr. Miglimo, who is such a funny, like, totally that professor you have who's like, yes, I am doing everything correctly to help you along your journey. But in reality, I've done nothing.
Yep. I like when he's flipping through the book and it's all like Spock's science officer stuff. It's like, oh, forward by Ambassador Spock. Oh, more Vulcan stuff. He's like, it'll be more fun if we learn together.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, that's not a vote of confidence. Yeah, I just think that's so funny too, because it's pretty much just like a random Starfleet mix-up thing. Like they wouldn't normally put, the therapist with it for a science officer, but I love that she's still able to sort of make it work. Like this is the great thing about Tendi, is she's always going to find ways around the problem. And if she has someone who doesn't really, who's not like top notch for her mentor, she just still makes it work. And I love that this kind of leads the way to T'Ana in this episode, getting to sort of show a softer side. And that's something I did not expect to see in this episode. And that was really special, even though she's about to cut off someone's leg, that's how it goes.
I know. I love those two sides of Dr. T'Ana in that we, expect her to be a little bit crazy, a little kooky, but is still really good at her job, even to the point of sort of soft mentoring Tendi without having to do a ton of the work. And I think that she's smart enough to know how to push Tendi in the right direction and sees a lot of the same qualities in herself. And I do see an interesting parallel between their characters, because there's moments when Tendi does finally have the shut up and listen to me moment, you're like, yes. Oh, I can hear Dr. T'Ana with
this true.
In the back of my head here. Yeah, and then we have Rutherford, Mariner, and Boimler all going down to the planet to help clean up this mining area, where we get to see some really funny little insights to these characters, as you were saying. How, it's what am I trying to say here? I'll find it eventually. Anyway, we get to see a little glimpse and decide all of them. And it's of course, Rutherford's has something to do with science stuff. And of course, Boimler's has something to do with wanting to move up in rank. And then it's but then Mariner's is actually about her love life. What? A soft side to Mariner? Who would have thought?
Yes. I think one of my favorite moments with that is towards the middle end of the episode, when finally it's showing also their nightmares. And Mariner's is the big bear that's kind of like Jennifer and saying I want to grow old together and grow orchids. And then Boimler sees this and he's like, Mariner, I think you need to go back to therapy.
Yes.
Your nightmare is commitment.
We're literally seeing right now what's going on with you. Yeah. I thought that scene was brilliant. My little gay heart was so happy, seeing the scene where Mariner is finally getting to talk more about Jennifer and their relationship, or whatever they want to call it. And I just absolutely love Mariner in general. And then when I get to see her actually, seeing more of her love life, it's really fun to add that character depth, and something completely, like you said, Mariah, not at all what I expected.
Yeah, because I'm just I don't know, I'm picturing a crazy adventure, or a villain for you to sword fight in some way, for a Mariner fantasy, or perhaps it's I almost think of what would a Kirk fantasy be, and that's almost what I would picture for a Mariner fantasy in some ways.
Totally,
you got to punch someone in the face, but then there's a space babe for you to sleep with at the end.
I think this is the first time that we see Mariner truly embarrassed too. She's actually fully blushing, and she's like, guys, just stop it. And this is so rare, because she's so confident and not embarrassed by anything, but yet Jennifer,
Yeah,
totally.
It's so funny and I hope that we get to see a glimpse of what their relationship is actually like, because I imagine if it's still in that early days, I don't want anyone to know about this yet, oh my god, I'm blushing, it could be some really fun shenanigans on the ship between her and Jennifer.
Yes, I want more of this, so much more of this content. I'm ready for it. Yeah.
Choopy just said in the comments, stop looking at my heart rate. And because Rutherford, I think, is scanning her. And I just love that idea that you can be hanging out with your friends and they can just be like, ooh, you're getting nervous. Yeah.
I can see this. But soon, because they've made it, of course, a competition, and they are dunking these rocks into these bins because they don't want the other ship to beat them and tearing down this research station. Slowly it morphs into everybody's nightmares. So if you had to encounter a rock that put your Star Trek nightmares together, what would your Star Trek nightmare look like?
Ooh,
So many
I mean,
different nightmares to
I
choose
think it
from.
would be like a Borg version of the Enterprise finale, like just like the two scariest things out there. Like,
Oh, geez. Yeah,
yeah,
that's a pretty good one. Maybe
Mhm.
like species, what is it?
847.
Oh, from Voyager.
847-2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just being like chased from them and I can't run away or something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
Lord.
I think it would be an endless loop of having to watch Chakotay and Seven of Nine have a relationship.
Oh.
It's my nightmare.
Wow, that's a
Ouch.
really good one.
Oh, that is pain.
As much as I love those two characters individually,
Yeah,
so glad
as a
they're not
separate
together
entities.
anymore.
None of that. Yeah.
It would just like show up and be that one really awkward kiss scene over and over again, and you're just like,
Oh,
no.
God. No,
And they
please.
like have a picnic together. Oh
Yeah.
god, yeah, get away.
Wow. Yeah.
It would be so bad.
Mhm.
And then slowly they realize that, something is happening on the planet and that it can't actually just be these rocks, and the scientists in this particular species have sort of teamed up to try to get Federation data. And of course, our Lower Decker team actually saves the day a bit in this episode, which is a rarity for them, but it was nice to see the win. And it was truly Tendi, I think, really came in for the save, but everyone sort of played a little bit of a part of it. What was your favorite sort of nightmare or fantasy sequence from our away team?
I don't know. I thought the
The Borg
basketball was
snake.
really funny. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Borg snake. Oh,
Yeah,
I was gonna say I
yeah.
love seeing Kuka Klan in this series.
Oh my God.
This is like
yeah.
a deep animated series reference from How Sharper Than a Serpent's Tooth, I think.
Yeah, I think
Crazy,
so.
insane titles. Maybe that's my nightmare is reading Star Trek titles.
Yeah.
But I like screamed, and I was watching this with my husband, and he was like, "What is wrong with you?" And I was like, "That's Kuka Klan." And he was like, "You need to calm down." I knew he was
that was
coming because I
fantastic.
think I saw him like in the teaser trailer, but like wow, that was very exciting. So he was probably my favorite part of the nightmares.
Yes. Yeah, I love a good animated series reference. It really makes my heart soar. No pun intended for Kuka Klan, but
Wow.
but yeah, I really did like the Borg snake, but I think the Klingon clowns that was
The
really
Klingon
funny.
Oh my
I was
clowns.
like,
gosh.
I don't know what to like do with this.
The Klingon clowns were definitely, quite the visual treat.
Yeah. There was like a purple thing with legs. Did you
Oh,
know what that
yeah.
was? I wasn't
I
sure if
don't
that was just
know.
a generic thing. Yeah.
Maybe,
It was
yeah.
scary.
It was definitely scary. And then what else? Oh, and then we have sort of like our bridge crew are dealing with the situation on the ship where we sort of see Tendi in her prime, trying to speak up for herself and speak up for science. And of course, she does end up winning in the end and speaking up for herself. But we also get kind of a nice moment with Captain Freeman and the other Cali class captain. I can't remember. Captain Mayer.
Mhm.
And sort of like these two different opinions about how these negotiations should go. And I think it was really funny to sort of like play on the fact that most captains have these like cabinets of curiosities in their offices. And it's like that millennial ideal of like, no, minimalism. Like we're not gonna
This
have a
does
bunch of
not
stuff.
spark joy.
Yes.
Yeah.
He definitely read the Marie Kondo book before getting on the
Totally.
ship.
Yeah. Yes.
It's like, have you heard of this interesting 21st century novel?
Yeah, exactly. An old classic, yeah.
A classic. Does this spark joy? But yeah, I always like when we get to see like our Cerritos crew sort of up against another ship and sort of, just it's more world building, and I like seeing the Cali classes sort of also continuing to build because I feel like that's definitely an area we haven't seen a lot of in other series. So it's
Mhm.
a nice part of our little lower decks world is seeing these sort of like junior-ish ships and like the world that they live in.
Yeah, I really loved that too with the other ensigns down on the planet. Like that was so fun to have that sort of miscommunication going on. And then once they cleared it up, that they were like, no, just like Cerritos is the coolest. I was like, this is just so wholesome. I love that they went this direction. And yeah, it was really fun to see some different types of ships.
Yeah, the Cali class is becoming my favorite. I think the ship was the
Yeah.
Carlsbad.
Yeah.
So I just
Yes.
like living in California for a long time. It's fun to like pick up those references.
Totally.
I did think that the whole debate over the rock was starting to get a little frustrating, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, Freeman, like seriously, this is like a diplomatic. Like this is important, you know.
Yeah.
And I thought, of course, they're poking fun at like Picard and like so many captains who are just like, oh yes, we will solve this diplomatically. But I was definitely getting very annoyed. So I was really thankful that Tendi was able to bust her way in, and it just worked out. Of course, like you were saying, like it's kind of rare that the timing works out where the away mission or the away crew and Tendi both come in at the same time with the same evidence to help clear all this up. And I also thought it was interesting that they literally said data mining, which is such a like hot button
issue for now. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so
totally.
I love that they were able to weave that in because that's very Star Trek as well.
We love a reference to current events.
Yes,
Totally.
I did like that we also get, I like when episodes end at the bar, you know, it's like kind of the
Same.
debrief. We see everybody sort of in their little groups. We have our crew all back together partying with their counterparts from the other crew. We get a joke that Boimler is just a robot.
Guys, I'm people. I just love him. He's so cute.
I think people expected him to be like Peanut Hamper, you know?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
Truly like Peanut Hamper. And we, of course, get to see that Stevens, the guy who sort of led the crew down, even with his arms getting crumbled as a statue, you know, Dr. Tahana apparently was able to put Humpty Dumpty back together again. And
Yes.
he's tossing drinks at his face. And we see Tendi have a moment with her not so great, but great in his mind mentor at the bar at the end as well.
I love the shot that the little shot that they did of Tendi saying like, thanks to my mentor. And it does focus on Anna, you know, giving her that credit. And then, you know, it doubles down on it when Miglamo is like, yeah, it's me. I'm amazing.
And I guess you. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I think too, I do love the ending in the bar. I love the feeling of community it brings. And yeah, it's just so fun. It's very reminiscent of the pilot, and they do that a lot. It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we did get to see a little preview for an upcoming episode at Star Trek Day for Lower Decks, where we get to see Boimler's arch nemesis, aka his clone, coming back to save the day.
Yeah, that was wild.
I was wondering, I always think about the transporter clones, like, where are they? What are they doing? I need to know.
We're
so glad they did a check-in. Yeah.
Finally going to get an answer to that question. Well, yeah, I think that was kind of all of my thoughts on this particular episode. We didn't get a ton of like bigger character development moments. Nothing was super emotional this episode. You know, I think we got some really nice moments with Tendi. Overall, I think it's a good episode. I wouldn't put it at the top of my list quite yet, but as far as this season goes, but it's definitely like a good one. There's some great references. There's some good jokes, and it's nice to see our Cerritos team kind of have their moment to shine a little bit for once, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of my favorite references from the episode is when they're in the cave or like going to the cave or whatever, and Mariner says it's not a real day until in Starfleet until comms get blocked.
Yes.
I was like, that is the epitome. Like every single Stranded episode starts with that.
And I like how she keeps trying it in the cave. She's like, oh,
Will
like,
magically
does it work now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, something I'm intrigued by is how is the Stevens and Ransom relationship going to continue? Because we've seen like throughout, Stevens is just like annoying him, you know, bringing him pads the entire time. Like he's so obsessed with Ransom. But I don't know. Like I feel like at some point Stevens is going to grow on him and they are going to become friends. So
Oh,
I just
yeah.
like to see him persisting in his his goals.
That would be really fun. I know I sometimes visually I have to, but Stevens and Billups look so much alike, but I
Yes,
have to be
yes.
like, okay, no, yellow is Billups, and then we have Stevens, and it's not the same voice, so that helps. But it's like
Mhm.
sometimes before they start talking, I'm like, wait, is that Billups? No, it's not Billups, it's Stevens.
Same.
Yeah, the first couple episodes, I was like, why is the engineer so obsessed with Ransom? Like, kind of weird.
What a weird pairing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
interesting.
do love too that like the thing that got Stevens going and to like start all the competition was that Mariner said that they insulted Ransom. I was like, that's the perfect way to be like,
Of course.
like, okay, fine, let's go.
So funny. Well, thanks y'all for joining. I really appreciate you being here. And Kuhn does have this fun. Imagine if we had a Stevens fantasy.
Yes.
Probably would have involved Ransom.
Totally.
Maybe we can get a cut scene.
Yeah.
That would definitely make sense. Well, I thank you all so much for joining us for the live stream. Thank you to Rihanna and Ashlyn for being here this evening. I so appreciate your time and being flexible with my crazy schedule today and making sure that we could still talk about Lower Decks and Star Trek Day. Can you tell folks where they can find y'all on the internet?
Yeah, we are Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We have a Patreon that you can donate any amount per month. We have been reviewing all of Lower Decks season 1. We just started reviewing season 2, and we've reviewed all of the animated series, plus some trivia. Quiz stuff is on there. Lots of great content. We also have a TikTok and a Tumblr and merch on Threadless. So many fun stuff. You can explore the Duras Sisters podcast.
Yes, exciting. Thank you again so much. You can find everything Star Trek Discovery Pod at StarTrekPod.co. We will be back next week talking more Trek, of course, with some more Lower Decks and anything else that might pop up between now and then. You never know with Star Trek. And I appreciate you all being here for special coverage for Star Trek Day. You can also find us at patreon.com/Star Trek Pod to join us for just $2 an episode over on our Slack channel where you can hang out with us. And there's lots of stuff going on in the chat all week long with watch along. So it's a really fun community to join. You can find me at Mariah Gossett on all platforms. Thank you to Karen, who helps run our Twitter and keeps our community going in the Slack. I appreciate you so much. So shout out to you, Karen. And I think that is it. And we will see you next time, y'all. Live long and prosper.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.